Good morning or good afternoon. Hello, so today I'm going to go over the video about report writing. Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm recording. Yes, I think I am. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is I hope you can see you're going to have this Word document, and usually I have time in class to go over it. I give it to you as homework and we go over all the exercises. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the video, the document with you, and that way you'll learn how to write a report. And so when we get to an exercise, just I'll tell you to pause, and you pause, you do the exercises at home, and then you check. I'll give you the correction today in this video. So let's get started. So first of all, what's the objective? The objective is to write an impersonal report. And for that, I want you to improve your level, get a little ahead of the game, use the passive. You're going to use a report based on your survey that you did in class, the meeting. And you can also use your imagination. So I didn't put here, but normally you would have a report that's at least 200 words. So let's put that in here. That's the first thing we're going to add. When would you write this report? Well, if you have a tutor who asks you in either in France or a business situation, they would ask you to write a report about your research with the consumers if you do like a focus meeting. So let's take the example of the company Lu. They have cookies and biscuits. And let's say you chose this product as source of a survey, a meeting where you have a questionnaire. Now you have to write the report about what you found out. So first of all, a report doesn't just come out of the air. You have models online, templates, but I'm going to try to break down the different models to go into some of the grammar points that I want to focus on and that you need to focus on too, to get behind the template so that you understand a little bit the structure. First of all, a report should be neutral. So unless you're writing a report about your internship or your alternate course, it should be neutral. So that means that you're not going to use emotional language. You're not going to use that much I think that. It's not really your opinion that you're giving. You're reporting the speech of other people. So try to avoid anything that's very personal or informal. So that way, when you're talking about the biscuits Lu and the other people that gave you information, you don't need to use I or we. So try to forget about yourself. It's about the product. It's about the people that you spoke to. It's not about you. So use the third person singular and plural and the passive right here. Okay, so you must use the passive and avoid I or we in the report. Remember, no I, no we. So in other words, if you want to say this, we think that the director should hire more staff. It's that if that's in your conclusion as kind of like recommendations, you're going to say it differently. More sales staff should be hired. And so this is called the passive with the be and plus the past participle. So let's start with the different exercises that we have. We're going to start with the passive. The passive is used to describe a customer's reaction or what happened to a person or the object. So make sure that you use the past participle as an adjective. And if it's an irregular past participle like stolen or broken, you have to use that too. So let's look at some examples. The customer is interested in the brand. And another one, the goods were broken or the goods were stolen. So, I mean, you can use this even if you're working in the future in a company that has to do with fulfillment in e-commerce. Maybe you're working with the delivery and the delivery was stolen. You would put that in a report. Now, the active is used to describe an actor, the subject of the sentence. And it can be a person or it can be a thing. That's the actor, because we have robots and machines that we use the active to talk about them. And that provokes a reaction or an action, this actor. So the brand is disappointing. The shoplifter stole the goods. And I forgot to put a period there, so I'll just go ahead and do that. Now let's turn to page 4 or 5 for the exercises. So let's go down to page 4. Let me go down here, sorry. I'll scroll down. Okay. So here are the exercises. Okay, so what I did in this polycopy was I put an overview of all the 4 points that I wanted to focus on, and then I put the different exercises later. So here it is. So first of all, you have to know how to form the passive. You always look at the original sentence in the active. So for example, the transporter broke my goods. Broke is past simple, and you must keep the past simple. And you have to switch and inverse the subject and the object. And you can add by, but you don't necessarily have to add it. So what does that? Let's fill it in the blanks. It's already here. The transporter broke my goods, and my goods were broken. So basically what I should have put in my video was that you should have stopped your video before to get the answers. I forgot to say that, I'm sorry, but here we go. You already have the answers here. Okay, my goods were broken. So remember that we conjugate the verb in the same as the original active sentence. So don't confuse active and passive with present and past. That's not, you just keep the same verb form. So if the broke is in the past simple, so you have to put were as the past simple of the verb to be. And you have to find the past participle of the same verb broke. And that's the third column of irregular verbs. So if you have the original verb broke, that's active. The passive is going to be they were broken. Or if it's a singular item that is now the subject, it would be it was broken. Okay, so you have to be careful what the subject is still. Okay, we have an example sentence with the word goods, which is plural, so the goods were broken. Okay, but if you have just one article, one item, one product, the product was broken. Okay, so make sure you know that. And then we don't have to say who broke it, because sometimes you just don't know. And that's not the point. The point is you're writing a report about what happened in an event, delivery, and you just know about the product. You don't know about what happened, who did it. Okay. So can you circle the correct word in these sentences? So now it's time for you to do the exercise. So say goodbye, turn off your computer or stop the video and do these exercises, and then come back here in a minute or two and we'll correct the exercises. Goodbye. Okay, hello again. Hundreds of houses are built every year. So that's going to be the one that you want to highlight or to underline. So let's underline it. Let's highlight it. Okay. So that's the correct answer. The police arrested the shoplifter. So this one is active. So let's underline it and highlight it. And that's an active sentence. And the goods, excuse me, were stolen by the thief. So you need the passive. And now you're done. You have some understanding of the passive. Now, the idea is to take sentences that are talking about your product and turn them from active to passive sentences to vary things a little bit when you're talking about the product. Okay, so you can do that from time to time. We use it when we want to focus on the product more than on the consumer, for example. Or if we want to focus, we have a report to write about an incident, an event that was, an order that was late or delayed or something. We're going to be focusing on the product, on the order, on the delivery, and we're not going to be focusing on the the people who drive the lorries or the trucks and who caused the delay. So we'll just very quickly just move over to the passive to talk about the orders and the deliveries and so on. Okay, so let's go back to the main page, the first page, like the welcome page. And you're set with this. Okay, we've done this now. So let's put a nice green color here. You have some elementary understanding of the passive. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to focus on is indirect discourse. Okay, so that's because that's on page 2. All right. What you need to know is that when people speak in a meeting, they're going to say things, oh, I will do this, and that's what they say. But when we write about it in the report, we have to put would. And let me move my little screen here. So my little, so then can, if somebody says I can do it, then you would say could. They said they could do it. So here we have an example. The customer says, I usually buy my transport from the competition because they are cheaper. Consumers said that they usually bought from the competition because they were cheaper. Okay, so I already did it for you, this one. All right. So now you would have to get a number of these. This is one person who said, I usually buy, and then you would put that together in your report, and you have like several people who said that. So you just said, the people that I spoke to said that they usually bought. Okay. So another thing that we can highlight here is that in indirect discourse, you also have to change the time markers from direct speech to indirect speech. So if somebody says this day or today, it's going to become that day in the reported speech. If they say come here or I, then they said they came there. Okay. If they say yesterday, then it's going to be the day before that or the day before. And then if they talk about tomorrow in their direct speech, she said she would go there the next day or the day after. Okay, so we have some examples on page 2. We're going to go there right now, but briefly because I want to read with you the report in just a minute. So let's go to the second page and we'll read a little bit of the report, just the introduction and the first part, because that's what I'm going to focus on. Okay, so this is an example of a report. I have 2 reports. One is weak or not so good, and the other one, I improved it. So there are many improvements. And one of the things you can do is go through, read the 2 reports and find 3 improvements and give them a name by using the plus box, meaning it's like a bonus that you have when you change things. And the headings, when I usually did this, yes, the headings are still missing. So we're going to add suitable headings for your reports. Each report is not like an essay where you give your opinion. You need to have titles for each part. So you have to think of good titles. Okay. So, but the main focus of this part was also to go into direct and indirect speech. Okay. So here, let's look at some of the, if you look at things here, this person had, the aim of this report is to look at students' habits about sweet snacks, like chocolate bars based on a panel of over 20 students. And it's a little bit better because I'm allowing you to use your imagination and to even lie to me. And, you know, the aim of this report is to sum up the results of a survey about the Lou brands based on a questionnaires received from 200 consumers in France. So it's better if you add, you know, more information and try to use your imagination. You want to describe who the consumers are or the customers. Maybe give some kind of information about their profile. You can make that up. Okay. Now here we have here consumers habits, and I changed it, added a little extra. You know, we always use in English a lot more capital letters here, so that's a capital letter. Then here you don't use them as much. Then here, firstly, 3/4 of pollsters eat regularly chocolate cookies for breakfast. Okay. So I added some percentages, which is better, you know, 3/4. And I put about, and it's actually just under 3/4. Okay. So then you still have their habits. Just over half of pollsters consume sweet snacks during the day. Moreover, I added just over half. Okay, almost the same of them. And I put the percentage, consume another sweet snack during the day. Okay. And then we're going to get to our first example of reported speech. Most of them candy bars. So there's a lot of errors in this, you know, report. Bought at vending machines. Okay. Most of them drink cakes. Is there an error there? Yes, there is. Drink, you know, warm drinks or, you know, beverages we use. So we're going to, yes, you can drink drinks, but that's repetitive. So we're going to use the word beverages or candy bars bought at a vending machine. So, you know, use the past tense, but that's still not a reported speech. Now here it starts. Last but not least, very few say they can never consume sweets. So here we have the word say, and here we're going to be using the past said. However, when asked, some, that's 15%, said, okay, they never consume. So you know, it's improved, but I didn't want to change everything. So stop your computer and try to get what's called the rule of changing, put everything in the past, or sometimes you have to put it in the past perfect. So stop and change the verbs here to have the past simple. Okay. All right, stop. Bye-bye. Okay, let's go back. Here, because of the word said, we have to add a D here. And you can continue to use the present for the ones that they continue doing in their present, okay? But if you want, you can have everything in the past, which is called the rule of agreement of time. Now, I know they continue, and it should, maybe you think, oh yeah, but it's still in the present, they still do it. Yeah, but the rules of agreement say, because we have our main verb here with said, we're supposed to put a D verb here when and it's the same in other languages like French. So you really need the D there, okay? So now we corrected, or we did the exercises that have to do with what's called reported speech, okay? The improvements of the second report, there are more transitions and link words. The paragraphs are very clearly identified with the indentation, which is called this word in French. And there are more statistics and percentages in parentheses. And in general, there's just more past tense. So that'll get you more points when you're trying to get up into the higher scores of the B2 level. So what I'm trying to say is that we don't see everything in English anymore as good or bad. It's not that easy anymore. We have different levels. So somebody who writes a report and they only have an A2 level, they're going to take an hour or more to write this very simple report. Or maybe they'll even take a whole afternoon or a day, and they can still do it. So they still have their job, and that's okay. But basically what you really want is somebody who can write a report at a higher level and have higher accuracy and more vocabulary. So that's what we're looking for. But it's if you don't get it, it's just kind of seen as like an error for that level, that you should have that level, you should have the B2 level, and you're not quite up to the level of performance that you need yet. So you're still getting there, but it's not like, we're trying to make you feel guilty and all that. But you can do it if you are aware of what are the qualities of a B2, B1 plus and B2 report. Well, if we tell you there's going to be a lot more verbs in the past simple or even the past perfect, then you can start to add them and see, hey, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can change things. Okay. It's not that one is more grammatically correct or another or not. Okay. Because you can write a report all in the present tense if you want to, and narrate and say things just with the present. It's just that it's not the same level. Okay. It's not that it's incorrect. It's just not at the same level. Okay. So I think I have to divide this video in 2 parts. So I'm going to at least start with this part, which had to do with the passive and the indirect discourse. And I will do another video to go over the exercises that have to do with the quantifiers that you can use in a report. Okay. And the link words that you should also be using in the report. So I'm going to stop here with this video, and we'll have a part 2 where I correct the exercises that go with this. And basically instead of reading the model, what I'm trying to do is get you to see the model as how you can adapt it to your level and what your objectives are. Okay. And so that it's not just all black and white in English anymore. And we're trying to get you improved from where you are to go to another place and get you making progress along the continuum of what your level is. Okay. So I hope you'll be able to read the report. We're not going to read it together in class or anything. We just don't have time. But I hope you'll read the report and use it as a model or a template of how you can write your report. Okay. What we can ask you to do now is start to take sentences that you want in your report, and you write the sentence that you want to write here with maybe direct discourse, what the person really said to you, but you put it between quotes, and then you work on transforming it so that it has all the qualities of a reported speech. And I can help you with that in class, doing a couple sentences. I don't have time to check everything of every report, every sentence, every paragraph, and so on. But I can help you with a couple so that you have at least, you're on the pathway to putting in some reported speech in your report. That's why a reported speech goes in a report, because a report is about what people said usually. Okay, so for example, you write a report on a meeting or whatever. Okay, all right, so we're going to be doing the second part. There are activities to do with what are called uncountable nouns and quantity words. So that'll be in part 2. Goodbye. And I'm going to stop the video and stop sharing. Yes, goodbye.